Apollo 8, traffic, and fruitcake are all on this day. Welcome back to On This Day. Today's date is December 27th, 2021. It is the 361st day of the year. You got 4 days left in 2021. It is the 52nd Monday in the 53rd week. The 7th day of winter, we got 83 days left till spring. And if today's your birthday, you're a Capricorn. Today is National Fruitcake Day. Across the United States, fruitcake lovers, young and old, commemorate National Fruitcake Day each year on December 27th. Probably because in the old days, everyone used to give each other fruitcake and no one really ever ate it. So you spent December 27th sitting around wondering what you're going to do with this fruitcake and hope your family member doesn't see you throwing it out in the trash. I hate fruitcake. It's disgusting. But that's just me. I'm a Pisces. I'm not sure if that has anything to do with my hatred towards fruitcake, but I like to tell people that. All right, let's see what else December 27th has given us. 1814. The War of 1812, the American schooner USS Carolina is destroyed. It was the last of Commodore Daniel Patterson's makeshift fleet that fought a series of delaying actions that contributed to Andrew Jackson's victory at the Battle of New Orleans. We went up against the most powerful navy in the planet at the time, which is Great Britain, and our thrown together navy was just there to give Andrew Jackson some more time. 1831, Charles Darwin set sail on the HMS Beagle. The voyage lasted for 5 years and took the young naturalist to South America, the Galapagos Islands, and a bunch of other places. While on the voyage, Darwin read The Principles of Geology by Charles Lyell. This is a very interesting book about the nature of Earth and how the continents actually could have been together at one point. And, these were all theories that he had, but it got Darwin got the ball rolling for his future theory. Definitely had an effect on Charles Darwin. Then when he saw fossilized remains like giant ground sloths and other extinct creatures in South America, he began to consider the evolution of species in geological time over hundreds of centuries. When he got to the Galapagos, his mind was blown by all the different creatures there that were kind of similar to things on the mainland, but then again, a lot of them were very different. You had swimming iguanas, for one thing, flightless birds. He later started studying the finches on the Galapagos Islands, where every species was very precisely attuned to its particular environmental niche. From his observations, Darwin went on to conceive his theory of evolution by natural selection. I knew nothing about Darwin, until I started seeing t-shirts of, Darwin's natural selection and Darwin Awards, things like that back in the 90s. And I started reading up on him. Very interesting man. 1932, Radio City Music Hall, a showplace of nations as it's called, opens in New York City. 1945, the International Monetary Fund is created with the signing of an agreement by 29 nations. 1968, the Apollo program. Apollo 8 splashes down in the Pacific Ocean, ending the first orbital manned mission to the moon. We just talked about when they took off the other day. 2008, Operation Cast Lead. Israel launches a 3-week operation in Gaza. Now, they'd kind of withdrawn from the Gaza Strip, got everyone out of there, and Hamas, the Palestinian guys, they kept attacking. Not getting into who's right, who's wrong on this one, but they were trying to get out of there. Israel was, do your own thing, but the militants kept attacking, so they did this operation a couple years after they had basically left Gaza. Now, they got a whole host of problems going back and forth to each side. It's just too complex of a subject that every time I've tried to understand, can't get my head around it. Movies released on December 27th, 2000. We got Traffic. This was a phenomenal movie. This movie starred Don Cheadle, Viola Davis, Catherine Zeta-Jones, Michael Douglas, Dennis Quaid, Topher Grace, Benicio del Toro, James Brolin, Erica Christensen, Amy Irving. It was a great movie. Jacob Vargas, he played a good part in this one too. This is a movie that centers around the world of drug trafficking. The film is seen through interrelated stories of drug users, enforcers, politicians, and traffickers. The story is highly personal and developed intrigue, danger. It is just a deep movie. It's worth watching twice just so you could get what's happening. Great movie. The movie is based off a 1989 British television series called Traffic. The film grossed over $207 million worldwide. Such a good movie. Born on December 27th, 1988, Hayley Williams. If you don't know her, she is the lead singer of the band Paramore. They're like an alternative group. She's very talented. She is one of the better things to come out of Meridian, Mississippi. During high school, she moved to Tennessee from Mississippi, and she met her future bandmates at her new school. Her next door neighbor as a kid back in Meridian, Mississippi is Rodney Hood. He's a professional basketball player, played for the Portland Trail Blazers, Cleveland Cavaliers, I believe, and right now he's with the Milwaukee Bucks. I think that's interesting. Next door neighbors become famous. in two totally different things. You know, it's one thing if you knew someone growing up and you were like a comedian and you get famous, you can bring your friend along kind of like that. But yeah, two totally different things. Interesting. Died on December 27th. Princess Leia, Carrie Fisher, passed away in 2016. If you don't know her story, she soared to fame after portraying Princess Leia Organa. Didn't even know Organa was her last name until years later. I don't know how many times I watched the movie. Never knew she had a last name. I just always knew it was Princess Leia. Anyway, she was in the original Star Wars trilogy with Harrison Ford as Han Solo, Mark Hamill, Luke Skywalker, you know, Chewbacca, all those people. She later came back and reprised the role as an older Princess Leia in the most recent movies. Sadly, she passed away and she was still written into one of the movies, one of the last movies, and they had to use computer animated stuff to bring her into the film. It looked pretty good, I gotta admit. Made me think while watching it, we're maybe a decade away from not needing actors anymore, honestly. That's how good it looked. I was blown away years ago with that whole Forrest Gump thing when they brought John F. Kennedy back to life and Elvis and Richard Nixon, everyone else. It's just weird. She was born to singer Eddie Fisher and actress Debbie Reynolds and was raised with her younger brother named Todd Fisher. She was married to Paul Simon in 1983 to 1984. She was also briefly engaged to Dan Aykroyd in 1980. Her daughter Billie Lourd also became an actress. She appeared in Las Vegas shows with her mom when she was 12 years old. A lot of people don't know she was also a pretty good author. She wrote a really good book called Postcards from the Edge. It's kind of based on how her life went for a long time. But she also wrote the screenplay for that. She wrote a couple other things like Surrender the Pink, Delusions of Grandma, and The Best Awful There Is. Sadly, she died on this day in 2016 of cardiac arrest after she was in Europe for a European book tour. She'd made it home and, passed away. All right, that's today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you got some information out of it. And go out, have a productive day. Be nice to each other.